Wait, I was muted. Good morning, good morning. I think you guys can hear me now. There's like three mute buttons. Let me know if you guys can hear me in the chat. But good morning, good morning, good morning. Last time I did one of these streams, God, I think I was on mute for like 12 minutes. I still can't fucking believe that. Oh my God. But yeah, let me know if you guys can hear me. I think we're good. My little red button is not flashing on my mic, and I see no more muted buttons anywhere. So good morning, chat. Good morning, Sai. What up, baby? Okay, cool. You can hear me. Good morning, Jesse. What up? What up? What up, guys? And like I was just saying before I unmuted myself, we are not live on the One True Sport channel today, sadly. There's some slight scheduling conflicts, issues. Not really issue. Those words seem so dramatic, but just some scheduling stuff. So Zach and I tried getting into the Brushing Media YouTube channel so I can go live over there. And fucking security, man. Like, you would think we're trying to, like, I'm trying to get into their bank account or something. Like, I'm just trying to log into StreamYard so we can, like, do a show. And Google wants us to do, like, 5 different verification things, man. First, you gotta do the verification for StreamYard, because obviously since I log in on mine and then I log in on theirs, I have to do the code each time. But, a little behind the scenes. But, this morning we were trying to do it on Brass Ring, and man, the shit, it was just like, it wanted to send the verification code to the phone, and then it wasn't sending to the phone. Like, I don't even know, man. So, we're gonna maybe try, I have, ironically enough, normally I don't have much to do. No, I'm not gonna say that. Normally I just keep Sundays open just to kind of do, like, it's kind of like a me day, and like small errands and stuff, but I try not to, like, really plan anything for Sundays, but I actually do have plans this afternoon on some family stuff. So Zach and I were trying to think of if there's gonna be a time maybe tomorrow. So I don't know, but we'll see. We'll see. So TBD about going live tomorrow on the One True Sport channel. I don't know schedule wise, but if not, I will be back for hopefully there's is scheduling permits. There's no issues like Saturday, so we should be good to go. But thank you guys for popping in over here. So yeah, all that out of the way, I was just like, man, I already had the mic and everything out, so I kind of still wanted to talk shit. And I was like, wait, pop in on my channel. So here we are. Thank you guys for popping in. I appreciate you. Baby, what up, man? I hope you're doing well, my friend. Sai, I hope you're doing well as well. And anyone watching on replay, I appreciate that as well, because this is not a regularly scheduled broadcast here. Not that any of mine are. But we will talk about, so primarily on the show at One True Sport, because as I always say, this isn't going to be a long show, and I'm here 2 hours later. I actually do nothing like specific time wise, but I do have to go visit family members. So yeah, just gotta do some shit this afternoon. So probably I'm gonna try to keep it as short as possible, right? So that's why I was just gonna talk about SmackDown over on One True Sport, and then I was gonna maybe pop on here later later this evening, rather. It'll probably be like evening time, and talk about AEW, but we'll see. We'll see what I can fit in right now. Because I was like, man, like, I got my coffee, like, ready to go. So, we're going to talk about SmackDown first. I was debating on even just not talking about WWE related stuff and just saving that for all next week. But, fuck it. We'll talk about SmackDown. And then, if we have some time, depending on how long winded I am, we'll talk about some AEW. Because that Dynasty ending, y'all, that was fucking trash. I'm just going to start and just kind of, like, put my feelings out there on it now, and the follow-up on Dynamite did not make me feel any better. I was hopeful. I was like, there's potential with the Bucks coming back and everything, but yeah. I honestly fell asleep right before the main event on Dynasty. I was super pumped to watch the show, but then, bro, like, it got to be like 11:30, 11:45, and like the main event was just about to come on, like, or hadn't I don't even think it came on. Maybe it was just coming on around then, but I remember looking at the time and it was like past 11:30. I'm like, what the fuck are we doing? Like, this isn't WrestleMania. This isn't like and like there's been, I guess we'll talk about AEW now first. Fuck it. I'll just change the title if I need to, but not to bait and switch you guys, but I just don't understand the I don't know. And look, my dog is right here, Callie. She's making all types of noises, so sorry if you guys can hear her. but they I don't know if it's they want to make sure you get your money's worth, quote unquote. You know, they being like Tony Khan. All right, Cal, shit, relax. But you can make more of an excuse or like, okay, well, you know, like it's not that bad because it's only once every few months, how they used to have it when it was like 6-ish pay-per-views a year. But yeah, the fact that that shit didn't end until after 12, I don't understand. I don't understand. And then you end it with such a shitty ending. Like, I'm sorry, like I when I saw some of the people's reaction, you know, YouTubers, I was like, some people were being a bit dramatic, I think, but you had I don't know who you guys watch out there, but I follow this one channel, Solid Monster. It sounds off. I think the official name of it is, but Jason Solomon. He I really enjoy him because he is honest. He curses, right? I just something about me, man. Like if I hear you curse in your shows, it makes me feel like you're being more truthful or you're not like holding back. I don't know. Maybe it's just coming from me who every other word it seems like is a curse word, but just something about it, man. And you know, like I even try to watch myself. Like there was one show I thought I was just saying the F word like just every other. I just got to the point I was like, yo, like I need to like calm myself down. But he just kind of tells it like it is, you know what I mean? And he does a great job with the reviews, a great job with the breakdowns. But he normally tries to like benefit of the doubt and let it play out. Not as an apologist, but he's a more patient, you know, I guess, content creator or just fan. You know, he's just one of those fans that you know just gives it a little bit of time. He may not be happy with what's going on right now, and he'll say that, right? But he just kind of gives it a little bit of time. But he, even he, was not pleased. And if you guys haven't seen his review, definitely check it out. Definitely check it out. It's very very entertaining. And props to him because he goes live right after the show's end, and I think he went live. It was like fucking like 1 o'clock after one or some shit. So props to him. My ass fell asleep before the shit even started. The main event. Hey, hey, Callie's playing with the cat. I wish I could show you guys. But shout out Callie. That's my shepherd mix in the back. They always like she was fucking laying. There I go again with the word. She was laying down right before I start sitting down and recording, which I feel like is just the norm. So again, props to everyone else out there who is much more professional than I am. But yeah, getting back to the show, and I am going to go through your comments here as well in a second. But the fact that your main event ended at such a late time and you give us that shit ending, it's not even one of those endings where it's like, okay, like God, like Moxley sucks, you know, like in the character sense, right? It's like, man, like okay, like you're waiting and you have a glimmer of hope and an idea like Osprey, for instance, is going to be the one to dethrone Moxley, right? Or even Hangman, whoever it's going to be, fucking Mark Briscoe, whoever it's going to be. You could see the writing on the wall and be like, all right, we just got to get to All In, or we got to get to which it seems. And everyone, again, you guys know me by now, but so sorry for the side rants and everything. But I was honestly really surprised by how many people thought Moxley was going to lose and Swerve was going to win. Like, yes, did I want that to happen? Yeah. But, like, I just didn't see it. You know, like, to me, it's a no brainer that Moxley's going to All In as champion. And that's going to be their version of a WrestleMania, like a big stadium show. I see them potentially holding it here in the States more often, you know, as in the upcoming years. I do think I would like to see them possibly go to like Canada, you know, maybe not next year, maybe like 2 years from now, if they build more momentum and more demand. I don't know what their demand is like in Canada, but just to branch out more and take it to London, you know, take it back to London. So I don't know. I really do like what AEW does in the sense of taking it to different stadiums and venues, period, you know? But yo, I just the fact that so many people were so pissed off that Moxley lost. First, I was like, "Yo, like, how do you, like you really thought that he was gonna like I'm sorry, that Moxley won. I was like, you really thought that he was gonna lose? Like, I don't know, man. Like, the second I saw that it was gonna be Swerve, and by I think like the second week of build, I was like, yeah, Swerve isn't winning here. I just didn't know if it was gonna be like Nana turning on him or anything. Which at this point, it doesn't seem likely. I feel like if that was gonna happen, that would have happened with Ricochet, ironically enough. Um, can you imagine, like, and I think I even mentioned the possibility of like Prince Nana, Ricochet, and Samantha Irvin coming in, but like a small little, not trio, obviously, but like a small little group, and really having really elevating Ricochet. But that was when if Ricochet was gonna get the victory and they were really gonna propel him, which kind of see how Ricochet has played out now. Which, and to be fair and to stand corrected, I don't know if I mentioned it here on a One True Sport stream, but I will stand corrected with Ricochet, man. Like when he first came in, first when he was going to AEW, I wanted him to go to Impact. I thought he would be a very good addition for Impact. Yeah, they have similar wrestlers to his style there, but he would stand out more, and I felt like he would have been a bigger deal. But in going into AEW, I thought he was gonna get lost in the shuffle. There's so many more guys there that are very similar to his style. But I stand corrected, bro. He really it started off rocky, right? The whole toilet paper shit and all that. Maybe pun intended. But he really turned it around, bro. That laugh makes me cringe, but now I kind of chuckle at his laugh because it's like now we know that he knows that like we're all in on that. Whereas before it's like, yo, does he really is he really down with this laugh? But no, like he's in on it too. So that just gives you like even like it just helps you accept it more. It makes it more fun and not as cringe, but like bro, it's just like when he does that laugh, it's just all right, dude. Um, but he has really taken ownership of this role in this version of a bad guy, like he's not pretending to be like this big tough guy. Like he is playing in his role and he found his own little like niche, and like his own little he stands out, like there's no other especially bad guy who takes time and like grabs the headset and like talks shit on the headset, like I love that visual of him talking shit on the commentator's headset and then he get fucking kicked in the face. So yeah, like little things like that, I really enjoy, and I really respect what he's doing. So props to him, man. It's very interesting seeing his responses on Twitter. I don't know if you guys follow him on Twitter. Uh, but sometimes he be going at it with some fans too, which um, you really see what people like really think once they leave WWE, just because they have more freedom, like on social media. Excuse me, which could be a good thing and a bad thing, but much more vocal, I'll say. Um, to be fair though, versus Kevin Owens addressed, I think it was Chris Van Vliet had mentioned they did an interview and he had brought up something about I don't know, I haven't listened to the interview yet, but just in regards to fan interactions in the airports and just like a swarm of fans like approaching a wrestler with like so much shit to sign and stuff like that. Um, so Kevin Owens like addressed that directly. So and then made a comment on Twitter, pretty much saying like because they did something similar to Asuka, and I'm sure dozens of wrestlers as well. But they just will come up to you with like 15 different things to sign and like all this stuff, and like not even really ask you for a picture, which is like I get you want to make your buck, dude, but like I don't know, especially like bombarding these people at the airport like 2, 3, 4 in the morning and like wanting them to sign all this shit. It's like I get it. Like if I saw them in the airport, depending on like the setting, if they're like I don't know, like depending on you just read the room, right? Like common sense. Pick your times, right? Like if it's not a good opportunity to walk up, like just the thought and just like not everything even has to be documented. You know what I mean? Like just you having that thought of like, yo, I saw Kevin Owens in the airport, bro, or some shit. You know what I mean? So like for instance, like in the sauna with Rhea Ripley, like it sounds really weird. But a couple years ago, like I like really like did not like I felt kind of awkward asking, but since she spent so much time talking to me, I was like, you know what, she seems pretty cool, and I feel like she will feel perfectly fine saying no, like it's awkward, like and I don't want to take a pic. But she was really fucking cool about it, you know what I mean? And I have nothing further to sign, you know what I mean? So it's just different. Like just read the room, guys. Read the room. But back to the original topic here. Um, I just which was the AEW main event times and all that. God, that sidetrack, that was I don't even remember how I got to Ricochet. I'll have to go back and listen to that. But, I don't know why first of all, you feel like you have to cram so many matches onto a card, and it be, like, matches like Jericho and Bandito with a fucking trash ending in that too, like, when that shit happened, yo, I was just I was like, "Wait, what?" First, when Jericho won, I was like, "Wow, okay, they actually had Jericho win." And then they fucking restarted that match. And the way they restarted, which we'll talk about, I was like, "What? What am I watch? Like, what? What am I watching? What are we doing?" And the fact that the Ring of Honor Championship is going through bullshit like that. It's just because Ring of Honor it stood for honor, right? Like they the honor code and all that shit, and it's I don't know. It just adds more substance to and I hate to even say this because it's allowing people to get work. And I don't think that Ring of Honor shouldn't exist. I just feel like it should be the NXT. It should be the developmental, the I don't know, the area you go if the main card is crowded, you know what I mean? It doesn't necessarily always mean a bad thing, right? If the fucking like main roster, Raw and SmackDown is packed, but you have a good talent and you don't want to lose them, you just shuffle them around. Like Bailey's gone down there. She was the first one that just came to mind. So it's not like a death sentence for your character, your career, or anything. But I mean, Ring of Honor could be different, but just no one like I don't even know how many people is anyone in here signed up for the honor club. No judgment, I don't know. But I just that finish, bro, that fucking finish, we'll talk about it here more in a second. But back to Moxley, all these fucking side tangents. I'm sorry, guys. Bless you guys for being able to put up with me and listen to my thoughts, my scrambled thoughts. This is why I don't claim to be I don't, take myself too seriously. You know what I mean? But I just a lot of ways, guys, or in a lot of ways, I kind of respect Tony Khan for sticking to it. Like the dude has some balls, man. He is sticking to this storyline. He is sticking to Mox being the champion. I don't know if in the back of his mind he's like, "Oh my god, I can't wait till July to get this shit over with," and he feels like he owes Moxley or whatever for everything that Moxley has done for AEW and all the times he's filled in, like the vacation he didn't go on and all this shit. Um, so I don't know if it's a matter of he feels like he like owes him one and is letting him allow this storyline to play out. But my goodness, dude. And it really reminded me also of the feeling that I got when Soraya won. I really need God, someone that broke it down for me. But it reminded me of when she won the women's championship in Wembley, right? Because I really it's crazy and is probably like as much of like an assholey statement this will sound like. I almost wish Tony wasn't as nice as he is because if you're in your hometown, you're most likely gonna win something big, right? Like it feels like he's just doing it to appease them and to appease the situation and not really what's best for business, right? Like what's best for the story that he probably had in mind or that he wanted to fulfill or he wanted to see play out. It just feels like we take a lot of like sidetracks. I would know, right? And we just take like a lot of deviations where it just feels like it just happens to fit where we're at or it happens to fit the setting. You know what I mean? So it reminded me of that just kind of like appeasing who wants what. And I'm not saying he's necessarily like a people pleaser. Maybe he is. I don't obviously know. And he seems like a really nice guy too. So I'm not even trying to say that in a bad way. I just mean that he probably just wants to make everyone happy and he wants to do what he thinks is the most amount of good, right, by pleasing so many people, where it's really affecting the product and it's really affecting the perception too. You When you get to the point where when you post the results, or like, for instance, like they had posted a tweet. I don't know if it was the one where it was showing like Moxley retaining, or it was some tweet that they posted about Dynasty, and they all, like, the majority, I went to the comment section, and the majority of them, of their like diehard fans, people who have like AEW like in their handles and shit, were like fans, obviously, were trashing them, and they were like, "We're so tired of Moxley as champion. Like, get this guy on TV." Like all this stuff. Like, I was very surprised because normally AEW, like the comment section, will get nothing but praise. Like maybe a few trickled, and I don't know if they go in there and delete the negative comments or what, but like it'll be like a few trickled. But this one was different, and it was like within like the first few minutes of it being posted. So I don't know if it changed. I don't. It's not that important to go back and check, but when the perception is out there and it's that strong, it should really wake you the fuck up, and like it's like God, like, and it bothers me too because not everything has to be great and not everything has to be going smoothly. You know what I mean? Like that's actually what makes a company or whatever it is that much better and that much more meaningful when you all right, for instance, you started off hot, you started off changing the industry, doing all these great things, and now you're in a down period. Once you rebound from that down period and go back up, whether you hit the same heights that you did previously, you blow that out of the water, or you get right near that, that's still a comeback, and that's still something to be proud of. And the fact that they're a company, period, is no small feat either. You know what I mean? I think sometimes we forget how different the wrestling world was 6-7 years ago. So I'll never be one of those that like, oh, AEW sucks. Like they need, or I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to not say that they suck because they have been, certain things have sucked lately. But like as a company that they should be like going out of business or anything, because that's just kind of weird to me. Like I don't want anyone to not have a job, like depending on the circumstances, right? Unless they're a piece of shit, then and don't do their job right. But like just for no reason, like that's really shitty, and it gives more people opportunity to be hopefully positioned properly and to get their name out there. Like for instance, take a look at Ray Phoenix and and Penta. Like not to say they would have never made it to WWE, but you have to admit that their AEW run and their AEW exposure really helped sell them to WWE, and we don't know how Phoenix got out of his contract so soon. Obviously, that was on Tony Khan's side, and I'm not even insinuating like WWE had anything to do with that. Because we see Tony Khan just woke up one Monday morning and let go like 4 people who were disgruntled. You know what I mean? Take a look at Ricky Saints. So and he's actually a very good example as well. Maybe even better than the Lucha Brothers. You can't deny that Ricky being in AEW did not help him get the spot that he's in WWE. And again, not saying that none of these people would have never made it to WWE. I think probably all of them would have. Would it have been right now? Would it have been a few years ago? Would it have been maybe next year? Who knows when it would have been? But you have to give credit where credit is due, right? Now, it also allows for you to see, for instance, like with the Ricky Starks or Saints, and with the Lucha Brothers, how they were positioned in one company, especially being on TV, right? Like at one point, weekly TV. For them, they obviously weren't on TV anymore. But you can see, excuse me, how they were positioned, what works best, and then you can take that mold and amplify it even more. There's a really cool clip that Triple H had posted on his Twitter where he was helping with the production crew and like the camera guys set up and create Phoenix's entrance, and it was just really cool, just seeing like the thought process and like how like the thought process and how to build an entrance and what he looks for, what the crew looks for, and just the dynamics of it. So check that out if you haven't seen it. But again, going back to the original topic, um, I just think that Tony is trying to please so many different masters and so many different like chefs in the kitchen, right? That he isn't even worried about he's not even worried about the kitchen. He's just worried about the chefs. You know what I mean? And in the kitchen, is not doing well. It needs upgrades, it needs new appliances, it needs just a revamp, and he's just worried about the people in there, which isn't a bad thing, but it's like, yes, the people 100% matter, but if the environment that they're in sucks, like it doesn't that it almost is it kind of cancels each other out. So I just think that he just needs to be okay with not even failure, but just with a negative time period, and like God, like WWE has had so many fucking negative time periods, like so many shitty years, like the 2010s, man, were just trash. Like in like the 07, 08, 09, 2010, 11, like that chunk, trash, dude, fucking trash. So and look how NXT started out. Y'all remember when NXT was like it was like some like game show type thing. It was like a competition show, and they were like jumping in like those like sacks and shit, like stuff that like kids do at like the fairs or whatever, and like running races and like running around the ring and just like the fuck. So it's okay to have a shitty idea, but you gotta admit it's a shitty idea. Obviously, you don't even have to do that publicly. Just admit it's a shitty idea behind the scenes, and or just to yourself. You don't even have to tell them, like verbalize it to anyone. Just wake up one Monday morning and be like, yeah, this Moxley storyline, it's just not working. I'm not saying end it right then and there, but start making like the drastic, like you were going straight, cut the wheel real quick and be like, yo, we need to course correct this real quick. You know what I mean? And start not even planting the seeds, but buy that potted plant from Home Depot or Lowe's or whatever you have, unpot that shit and be ready to put that shit in the ground and let it grow. You know what I mean? So I just think that he is so concerned of like not hurting people's feelings, especially the bigger stars, that it's just affecting the product. And yo, like the Bucks coming back, I tried again. Like I said, I fell asleep when I watched it the next day. First when I woke up, I was like, wait, what happened in the main event? And that's when I realized I fell asleep. I had to jump on Twitter because I knew people were like, I just had a feeling. I was like, oh, I got to see the reactions, and people were just fucking pissed. And when I saw I saw it, I was like, all right, I got to go back and rewatch it. But the fact that he even went on the media scrum and was like, "Oh yeah, it was great." Like I just don't know, man. I don't know. I'm gonna pull up y'all's comments because I've been talking for a long ass time now. But yeah, let me get to y'all first, real quick. Got you, baby. Yeah, we'll go back to WWE here in a little bit too. Hey, Ringside Renaissance, what up? What up? There's a poll going, a vote over on Twitter. I've retweeted a couple over on my Twitter handle, Kickash Podcast. Go vote for Ringside Renaissance. It's a fun little like tournament for like different YouTube channels and stuff. Go vote for them. It's pretty fun. I think the dude's name is Michael Morton, or I think something like that. I recently came across his Twitter page and gave him a follow. Yeah, it's pretty cool, and it's a great way to get exposure too. It's a great way. I found a couple new channels that I sub to, so it's really cool. What up, Sean? What up? What up, my friend? You say Silent Monster is really cool. Oh, you listen to him too. Awesome, Sean. Should have known you did. What up? What up? Good morning, Mackenzie. Good morning. Good morning. I did watch SmackDown. Yeah, we'll talk about SmackDown here. 'Cause we're doing pretty well. Baby, you say you make me want to shed tears of happiness when you talk about how much you love YouTubers that cuss. Yeah, man. Like and I. So there's this one. Yeah, I go on a little side tangent, but there's this one. Like I guess they're called like wall tubers, like a new made up word, but it's like this attorney who reviews different court cases and just different shit that's going on. And her name's Attorney Melanie Little, and she's covering this trial, the Karen Reed trial. And I love listening to her. She's so insightful. She obviously knows what she's talking about, and she's just really, I don't know, she just has a vibe to her. It's like she's just really entertaining. She seems really down to earth. But she doesn't cuss, and like she you could tell like she holds herself back because like I guess like moms listen. I don't know. I don't like to me if it's especially like if it's like about a murder or like something bad like a death or like it's a you're reviewing like bad shit, right? That happens. Why would your kids be listening to it? I don't know. And like if your kids are old enough to listen to like murder trials and shit, then they should be old enough to listen to the word fuck. You know what I mean? So it's like they're probably saying it themselves. So I don't know. Again, I'm not a parent. I'm not here to give anyone parenting advice. Do what you want to do. But my point to that is she just holds back because she's like my, which is very nice and very, like very props to her, like respectful, I guess. But I just, I want to be like, yo, girl, just let loose, man. Like, again, not saying you have to be like every other word like me, but like, damn, like, I don't know, man. I get it, but and I guess they do it for like ads and stuff like that because certain ads, if you say like certain words, like they won't want to promote on your channel. And again, that's why I'm not the best business person because I don't really care about that shit. You know what I mean? Like it'd be cool, you know what I mean? But like if I can't say the word fuck, then I probably don't want to buy your product. You know what I mean? So that's my thought on that. Yes, happy Mania week, everyone. The road is starting on Monday. Monday. It's crazy. In a lot of ways, to be honest with you, it doesn't even feel like Mania. Like, I don't know. It does, but it doesn't. And I was trying to compare it to last year, which again, like, I didn't think it was fair because I went to last year, so I had like a different level of excitement, even though it was very last minute. Um, but just I don't know. Like I don't even know how to say. Like I'm not. I'm definitely not disappointed. Now I will say I am disappointed in one key storyline, which we'll talk about here in a second. But I'm not overall disappointed with the build. I'm just kind of like, all right, And again, it kind of reminds me of like an AEW thing. Like the build has been okay. Um, some storylines are better than others, right? Some matches are better than others, build wise, but the show I feel like is going to be pretty good. And I know once I sit down and start watching the show itself, like I'm going to be pumped, and it's just something about, especially Mania Day as well, right? Like when you wake up and WrestleMania is that night, it just hits you kind of differently, man. Like I guess maybe sometimes, like or not sometimes, but like if you're like a big football fan, and like it's Super Bowl Sunday, and like you're building, and you wake, you're building to Sunday, and you wake up and it's finally here, and it's like, yo, like I got to get my shit done. I gotta, I gotta. If you're having a party, I gotta set up, whatever. You know what I mean? You gotta get ready, you gotta get your jersey on, all this shit. It's so funny because like you'll go to like Publix or whatever, and like everyone has their jersey on. um, so it's just cool, man. It's just it's fun because like thousands and millions of people are really excited for the same thing that you're excited for. And that's why, again, to be positive with AEW, like that's why I hope that AEW really just like gets out of this funk, man, and it really builds all in because I was always one of those proponents early on. Like they needed to have a show, whatever show that they decided on, and for a while I thought it was gonna be Double or Nothing, but have that be their WrestleMania. You don't have to be as extra with like the production as WrestleMania is right now. Right, right now you can build to it. Yes, you have a billionaire for an owner, but make it make sense for your product. Just because you have access to something doesn't mean you need to always throw money at it, which is what reminded me on that, what was it, like the 8-man tag on Dynamite. It was a $400,000 like like 4-way match. Like for what? And like for what? Like it when I saw that, when I saw the announcement on Twitter, my first thought was just throwing money at problems, just throwing money at shit, and just thinking that, okay, yeah, like I'll just throw a price tag on this and it'll make it that much more important. It'll make it better. Like, dude, like, first of all, that match, in my opinion, didn't even need to happen. You could have done something different with those people that were involved. We didn't see the money, right? Did I miss that? I don't even think we saw like 400K. Like, I don't like you could have shown it in like some vault or like not a briefcase, obviously, But, like, you could have shown, like, stacks of money. I'm sure Tony Khan has stacks of money, right? You could have shown stacks of money. It didn't have to actually be the whole 400,000, but you can create the illusion, right, with, like, different angles and stuff. But something. Like, I don't know, man. It was just so random. Like, it's just, I don't know. I was just like, what are we doing, bro? Like, what the fuck are we doing? Yeah. Can y'all hear my dog chewing on the hammer in the background? Let me know. Oh, Sayu said, I bailed on AEW after the bag and syringe show. After the bag and syringe show. No patience for it. Yeah. And the whole Daniel Bryan, I haven't called him Daniel Bryan forever. Bryan Danielson, bag over the head thing. Like, even, I'm questioning it now even more so than I did back then. Like, the need for it. Mackenzie, you said the Young Bucks, why they came back, it doesn't make sense for them to be in the storyline with the Death Riders. They tried to explain it on Dynamite, saying that they did it for Hangman, just like Rikishi did it for The Rock, you know? They did it for Hangman because they knew that Hangman, like, the last thing Hangman wants is for, the last thing Hangman wants is for Swerve to become AEW champion again, so that's why they did it. And they respect what Moxley, like, they see where where Moxley's coming from, and they can respect, what he wants to do and all that shit. And I'm just like, bro, no, it just didn't work. It didn't work for me, man. It just didn't work for me. And then the the Kenny Omega coming out and talking about Dookie. I was working, so I didn't see it live. But I saw a clip when I had like a 15-minute. I saw a clip, and it was just like it was just him standing. So I honestly I thought it was like someone created some shit. Like, I thought someone had created like a video or something and like spliced some stuff together. I was like, no, this can't be it. And then I found the whole segment itself, and I'm watching it, and I'm just sitting there thinking, this motherfucker is talking about shit shoes taking a shit on his friend's floor. And I'm like, and again, Kenny, I have grown to really appreciate and respect Kenny Omega um over the years, because I was one of those who was knew of him and then seen like a match or two prior to AEW, but didn't know much about him. So I was very excited to learn, right, and very excited to kind of go on that journey. Wish it would have been a little bit different, but it's fine. I did it myself and went out and watched some of his older stuff and just got like a little bit more idea of like who Kenny Omega, like the man, I don't want to say the man behind the character, but like the character behind the character, right? Like the character off screen, like in some of like the BTE, I never really watched them, but like the BTE things, I saw like a couple clips from him just to get an idea of like his personality, and his quirkiness and stuff like that. Um, so I can understand that's true to Kenny Omega, but like my fucking goodness, my guy, you really you really thought that like comparing your buddies two Shih Tzus taking a shit on his floor while y'all playing video games, and not even like, and they didn't even pick it up, like, and I thought he was gonna be like, yeah, and like he finally told his friend like he needs to pick up the shit off the floor, and he didn't. His remedy for the shit on the floor and the stains. And I'm sorry to be so graphic, guys. Like, that's what I had to listen to, so I just have to talk about it really quick. It's a therapy session, guys. Um, Instead of like helping his friend, like maybe train the dogs, take them outside for a walk, maybe, like, how long have these dogs been in the room? Like, how long have you been playing video games? That shit can go for hours. So like, what's going on with the dogs? You know what I mean? I mean, granted, I guess were teenage. I don't remember how old you said they were. I'm assuming like teenagers, young men. Um, but you like don't want to help him clean up the mess, or like you're just gonna leave it. Like, your idea and your resolution was just to go to your house. Like, so then, and then when he was like, and he's like, and that's what reminds me of you two. And I'm just like, and he like obviously was like relating, I guess, the Shih Tzus to the Young Bucks. And like I was just like when he did that, I'm sitting there trying to like put it all together. I'm like, okay, so what is he trying to get at? So are we taking? So what's like? You were trying to sit here and like explain it now. So I was like, okay, so is he wanting to take the Young Bucks and move them to a different? Is he trying to move them to Ring of Honor? Is he trying to like remove them from AEW? Like take them to a different house? Is he trying to go to a different house? Is he trying to go to Ring of Honor or WWE? You know, obviously not WWE. But like, is he trying to remove himself from the shit room? Like, because they didn't take the dogs out. Like, they just left the dogs. Like, Kenny wanted to just leave and just leave the dogs there. So I was just like really confused. You know, sometimes I sit here and I listen to what I say and what I'm talking about on some of these wrestling shows, and I just think like, yeah, like if no one else, and if you haven't seen the show, you're probably like, what the fuck? I was just like, ugh, okay. And like he should be mad. He should be mad. He should be mad. They tried to like kill him essentially. Like the last time we had saw him, they were the last reference was when it was his birthday, right? Like with the Bucks and Jack Perry, they had a big birthday cake for Kenny, and they dumped like fake intestines and shit on the birthday cake, and like they hoped like they wished death upon him. And his like the first time we see him in his comeback, like response to them is like talking about Shih Tzus, taking a shit. Like maybe the Young Bucks are the shit. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Let me go back to y'all's comments. This is why I try to stay focused, guys, but it just doesn't work. But I just don't know. What up, Maria? What up? What up? Good morning. No, girl, it was a very wonky morning, so appreciate you popping in. Baby, you said, I'm still wondering to this day if that toilet paper spot with Ricochet was not planned, or did they just take advantage of the situation and decide to turn him heel? What's your thoughts? I think, are you referring to like the initial one when they were in the, what was it, the Hammerstein ballroom and the fans threw it in? I don't think that was planned by AEW. I think obviously the fans planned it, right? Because or maybe like maybe they just grab toilet paper out of the. I guess you would have to grab the toilet paper out of the bathroom unless like you had a bag, because I don't think I don't know the rules for that venue, but like certain venues you can't even bring out like a bag in, even if it's a clear bag. Like the Edition Financial Arena down here, when I went to World's End, I had like a small little Nike bag like that. It was like very thin, just like to hold like some cash and like my keys in. Can't even bring that in. So I don't know the rules for that venue, but I think the fans planned that themselves, and AEW took advantage of it after that. And good for them for doing so. Right, and because remember when Swerve came out with like that, it was like almost like a big oh my god, wheelbarrow type thing like that. Yeah. Oh yeah, I do need to talk about this more. Yeah, thanks, Jesse. He says smash the like button. Yeah, go ahead and do that. I need to say that more, but again, like I was saying earlier. But yeah, go ahead and like it if you like, or you can dislike it too if you like. Whatever you feel is appropriate. And yeah, Sean, there's no need to have 10 matches at all. No need at all. And Maria says it's a luchador tradition to get family involved in storylines and finishes in Mexico, which is cool. Like that needs to be explained then, like I need commentary, and maybe they did and maybe I missed it, but you need someone like oh my god, Excalibur to explain that. In I just it's never happened in AEW before. And I know Thunder Rosa, her father was like not involved like this, but he was sitting ringside, and like she brought like ashes from like the Tijuana like graveyard or some shit. Not ashes, Jesus Christ. Dirt from the graveyard. But you need to set that precedent then, because I didn't actually know that that's like a tradition. So you taught me something, Bria. So thank you. But like, it shouldn't take us sitting here on a YouTube stream to know that. You know what I mean? And again, if I miss that, completely on me, and I'll take that. I'll take that L, right? But you need to emphasize that as well, and to go into a match if there's a luchador involved with that. Hey, I don't want to say hanging like above the match, but with that out there, you know what I mean? So I don't know, man. I appreciate that input, Maria. Thank you so much. But other than that, like that's on AEW still. Like it shouldn't take Maria educating us. You know what I mean? And God, like there's so many other fucking things that they want us to look up and to go and research. Like I need to make a list. I need to bring like a notepad to watch Dynamite or the paper. Much worse on a pay-per-view. Like combat. I feel you, bro. I feel you. I should have done that. Should have fucking got her signature. Just be like, yeah, sign where you'd like. Good morning, Juan. Good morning. Good morning. Jesse, you're funny, bro. Yo, John. Combat Jones, you're fucking hilarious, bro. Gives a new meaning to a John here. You're fucking hilarious, bro. Fernando, what up, bro? What up, what up? You say I love AEW and I'm very was that like maybe cynical? That Tony's stubbornness to pivot from stories that don't work is hurting AEW. Yeah, man. I think you're agreeing with me. Like that he has that stubbornness and unwillingness to pivot. I don't get it, bro. It's like I don't know. I just don't get it, bro. Oh, what up, Sean? Thank you for the super chat, Sean. I appreciate you, my friend. You say as you are must watch podcasting and no Ring of Honor. Thank you, bro. I appreciate that so much. You're very kind. Very, very kind. And I'll be reaching out to you, Sean, to figure out something for WrestleMania week. Mackenzie said the Death Rider faction storyline needs to end and move on to new storyline and rivalries. Yes, dude. And God, I know Eddie Kingston he was injured, right? But like, when is he coming back? Like, how bad was his knee? Like, damn. Like, and again, don't want to rush him. Take as much time as you need, but like, bro, like, I want to update. Like, I miss that guy. Yeah, Fernando, they're very far from going out of business, but there's some accounts on there, I like, especially like on Twitter, be like the death of AEW, and some of it's kind of like LOL, but some people actually do. Like I saw a few comments under, I forget what post it was, but the post I was referring to earlier, where like a lot of the fans were like just like shitting on it, where they're like, you need to just go out of business, you know, like you're hurting the industry and stuff like that, and like all this stuff. So I think that's a bit dramatic, you know. They're just hurting themselves, which I guess you could do like a full in-depth, like, I don't know, like as a whole, like if one company does this and the perception gets out there, like how does it affect the other? But we ain't got time for that today. But yeah, that triple threat on Dynasty was a fire match though. Fernando, you said the Dynasty pay-per-view was fire into the finish of the main event. I'm not gonna say like the whole pay-per-view was pretty good. That triple threat match was just amazing, but it wasn't one of their better shows, but it wasn't like a shit show either. But you know, like the main event, which should be the make or break of your show, that your main event is ideally what is selling tickets, right? And what is bringing people to the event. And if two pay-per-views in a row, you shit the bed, like you gotta be careful. You gotta be careful, man. Jesse, yeah, man, you said AEW has cut almost every metric of their numbers in half since their start and have been consistently low for a year. They're definitely in a down period. Yeah, man, I hate to agree with you there, but it's true. Like numbers don't lie, bro. Numbers don't lie. And that that report that came morning of the max viewership having like 500,000 viewers as well, so that means AEW is like over a million on Wednesday nights. That I don't know, man. The first like before like even like a lot of other shows mentioned it and then discussed it and like broke it down. I was like, there's just I don't believe that because Max does a shitty job at promoting AEW. I wanted to go back and what night was it? It was Thursday. I wanted to go and watch Dynamite because, like I said, I was working Wednesday night, and I have it on Max now. It's like the hardest shit. So it's not in. They have like They have like 5 different AEW sections too. Like they have like the pay per view section, which is really cool. Like they have, I think maybe all the pay per views, if not all of them. Like they started from the beginning and they're like adding a good amount of them. And then they have like AEW archives, which is where you would think like a previous show would be. I went there and it's all the shows. It was like all the shows up until like 2 weeks ago, April 4th, or I'm sorry, April 2nd. And then the last night show wasn't there. So I went to just the AEW like tab period. It wasn't there. And I was like, well, I know it's not under special events. So then I just went to the search bar to type it in AEW, and then there's like 5 or 6 different banners that pop up or whatever. Maybe like 4. I don't know. It was a lot of them. And then I like I didn't click on one of those, and like I went over and you saw like a display of all the individual shows, and then it was like all the way down. It was probably like, maybe like 5 rows down, and then there was it's like an AEW Dynamite replay, and then it has the date. I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ! Like it took me like 2-3 minutes just to find this shit, and that's not AEW's fault. That's Max's fault. But my point with that is, if it's raking in that many views, like why isn't that shit prominently featured on the homepage like Netflix is with Raw? And I'm not saying obviously like I hate, I'm not really normally one of those people that does comparisons like that, but especially if that shit is airing live now or it just aired the night before. It's not like Max has like dozens of live TV shows or live shows that are airing. So why can't you have at least one section on the main screen? You obviously spent some money to bring AEW, or like, well, depending on the deal, right? And the ownership, you have some agreement and you put resources into bringing AEW over to your platform, and in the future, allowing pay per view streams on your app, right? And you're making it this hard to watch the show that just happened the night before. Like, sometimes like the people who design these like streaming apps, I'm like, yo, do y'all even watch this? Do y'all watch streaming apps? Like, how? And again, that's not AEW's fault, but if I was Tony Khan, I would be like, yo, what the fuck? Like, why do I have to search? And maybe it's me, but why do I have to search AEW to go and look all the way down at the bottom and find the date that matches up on the show that just aired the night before? It's crazy. So there's another little side rant about that. Juan, you said, being honest, TK was never that quote unquote booker. He's a wrestling fan that thought he can book a wrestling show, which I'm sure most of us think we can. The problem is he seemingly doesn't want help. I think that's very well said, Juan. Very well said. And I think you're right. And I like the inclusion where you said, which I'm sure most of us think we can, because I'm definitely guilty of that. I'm definitely guilty of being one of those people that, for instance, Dynasty, like I was after the show, well, once I woke up the next day, and I thought about the show. I was like, yo, like you could have knocked out and removed like 3 of those matches easily. Had a much more concise card, cut the time down probably by at least an hour, hour and a half, tweak the main event storyline, and you would have been in good shape. You know what I mean? And I don't know what goes into building a show, taking care of, I'm sure, what, a couple hundred? I don't know how many employees are in AEW, including, like employees as a whole, counting wrestlers, crew, and all that. I can't imagine having to sit there and deal with that many different opinions, different inputs, different statuses, right? Like you have your people like your John Moxley's, Jericho's, who have been around for decades at this point. Then you have your new people like Hook and Nick Wayne, who need guidance and who need all this help and are still learning. Um, and it's just like so many different fluctuating levels. And I'm sure I don't think he would ever admit it, but I'm sure after that first year, probably like 2.5, 3-ish years into it, once he ran out of everything that he had already pre-planned, he was probably sitting there like, okay, yeah, like this shit's getting real. And again, like he had a really shitty hand dealt to him with the pandemic, a certain bad, unfortunate situations that happened. Um, with the passing of, Mr. Brody Lee, and then of Jay Briscoe. But I don't want this to sound crass or anything like that. But and again, none of that is anything that you can ever expect. But you have to expect the unexpected, right? Like as a business, you have to be cognizant of shit that you can't foresee. Is as weird as and kind of like hypocritical as that sounds, you have to be aware of the fact that like I don't know what's gonna happen this year. I don't know what's gonna happen tonight. I don't know what's gonna happen an hour from now, but I need to be prepared. I may not have the solution right then and there, but I need to be okay with saying this was a very, very difficult time and we're gonna get through this, like I don't depending on the situation, of course. But and even not saying he needs to adjust it to us, but like just backstage, be like, yo, like this isn't working. We gotta tweak this, guys. Like we gotta figure out what to do. You know what I mean? And I think some people, and especially like the status that he has, monetary wise, and with the Jacksonville Jaguars and stuff like that, and different roles that he has. Again, he's very, very nice, and he's not your typical billionaire, right? Or millionaire, whatever. Because I guess I don't know. Technically, his father's a billionaire. So I don't know. I don't really care. But your typical rich person, right? Just the brief interaction I had with him at one of the dark tapings and at Universal, very nice. Actually takes time to sit there and have like a brief interaction with you, and not just like hey hey hey, or just standing there just so you can take a picture. No, like he actually makes it a point to address you and thanks you for coming out. So little things like that matter, but I think that's also what ties into him not wanting to ask for help because he thinks that I've gotten it to this point, like I've gotten AEW to where it's at. I've gotten us deals, like we just renewed our deal for what was it like 500 million, 550 million or some shit. Um, so he's probably like, fuck it, like I know what I'm doing, which in some regard is correct, but the landscape for sports has changed a lot as well. So I don't know. It's just I wish like more people were okay with asking for help. It's I don't know why it's always viewed as a bad thing, or that you're weak. I think you're a much stronger person if you ask for help than if you don't, because we all go through shit. You know what I mean? And if especially him, like he, everyone knows all the different hats that he wears, right? I don't know why he would think that people expect him to be able to handle everything so smoothly. So yeah, man, my thoughts on that. Yeah. Yeah, Combat Jones, you right, you right. You said, bro, stop being a hater. So many people are watching AEW on Max, they're crashing their service. That's right, man. And there's so many people are watching, they fucked up their tier and they fucked up the display on the home screen. Yeah, right, bro. They do have millions of watchers on Max. I stand corrected. You're right. I am just a fucking hater. You know what I mean? Yo, they some of the excuses I have heard, it's just kind of comical. Yeah. And Tony Khan actually, I don't know the exact question, but his like long story short, he kind of admitted that he doesn't even have access to those numbers. So, and again, they did some equation where it was like the total amount of minutes divided by whatever, you know what I mean? Which could make sense. And I don't know why, I don't know why it's like so hard to get streaming numbers. Like, why is it so coveted? Like, why is it so secretive? Just fucking get. If I was Tony Khan, I would absolutely have access to those numbers because how am I going to grow and how am I going to make my product better for you and for your platform if I don't know where I'm at and I don't know. And again, if you can't do it weekly, which I find very hard to believe with all the technology we have and the dumb shit we can get AI to do for us, like you mean to tell me like Max can't get access to how many minutes were watched on a show or how many people watched a show. Come on, bro. Come on. Or within like not even we'll give them benefit of the doubt, right? Okay, you can't do it within 24 hours within the next week. Like you can't like what? Fuck out of here with that, man. And if that was the case, then maybe I would want to be on Max. Like again, this is little me sitting here talking in my room. You know what I mean? I would absolutely love to be on Max. But like I would have a lot of questions. I would be like, well, why? Why? And if it's a matter of, oh, well, it hasn't been a thing, it hasn't been brought to our attention, well, maybe it should. Like, are you not interested in how many people are tuning into certain shows? Like, of course you are. So, there's just so many things about that, man. So many things. Dude, yeah, Combat Jones again with the heat today. I love your picture, bro. It's a nice profile pic you got there. You said WWE has really been releasing a lot of cool backstage and Vault stuff now. It's pretty cool. Dude, yeah. If you guys have, I mentioned the Vault channel, I don't know, maybe a few weeks ago now. If you guys haven't checked out that WWE Vault on YouTube channel, definitely check that out. I don't know if it's that one or if it was WWE's page itself. They were breaking down, or not breaking down, but they were showing, I don't know if it was the top 50 matches, but like the top whatever matches in WrestleMania history. And the one that popped up on my feed, it was that WrestleMania 17 with the Hardy, oh gosh, the TLC match with the Hardys, the Dudleys, and Edge and Christian, because you saw like Jeff hanging in the center. Such a classic. But definitely check that out. But the Vault is I don't want to say hidden gem, but a gem that is not talked about as much as it should. So nice call out there, Mr. Jones. But yeah, definitely check that out. Real quick, have you guys? It's like the most random shit. Have you guys seen on WWE's channel? They will stream like a live. It's like a bull riding show. I think was it last night? Yeah, it was like right after SmackDown. I went to YouTube obviously to watch a review show, and WWE was live. I was like, okay, and I've seen it a couple times before, but I didn't really put thought like two and two together. It's fucking bull riding on their channel, and I don't know why, but it's like the most random shit, like actual bull riding. Like the fuck. I appreciate you, Jesse. What up? What up? You guys are great with the promoting and the sharing and all that. I appreciate you. Sigh. Oh, you're nice. So that is a good topic to bring up. So I will not be streaming on night one of WrestleMania. I do have to work. I was thinking about calling out between you guys and me. But I had to actually take a couple days off for like some doctor's appointments, so I just don't want to be that person. So I will sadly be working on Saturday night. But I have to figure out, we're potentially a group of us, we're going to be going to this place like a watch party. So I'll have an idea, I think by, what's today? I think by like Monday, if I'll be streaming WrestleMania Night 2. Because if I'm not going anywhere, then I definitely want to do a watch along with you guys. So I'll let you guys know probably like Monday. But I appreciate you, man. And I want to get with you about like editing and stuff. So I appreciate you, my friend. Hey, Jesse, you said we were doing a live WrestleMania pre-show on our channel, Ringside Renaissance. Hope you all can come hang out. You guys better go hang out. Are you doing it for both nights, Jesse? Night 1 and night 2, the pre-show, or just one or the other? But yeah, let me know, because I definitely want to pop in. Combat Jones said, I wonder if Kenny is sick with the Bucks now too. That look that he was giving the man, I know it was probably just, for the character or whatever, but when he came out, it was just like just a shell. Just like a stoic look. It was just very interesting. Jesse said Moxley is the world briefcase champion. That shit, man, that still just fucking blows my mind. That shit is still in the quote unquote still in the briefcase. I don't know. I'm still one of those, I guess, people, haters, whatever, that like, I don't think that shit's in that briefcase. That briefcase is so tiny. And I guess like when you do like when you buckle the belt and like it does like flatten out, but like I think it bothers me more. I guess I was gonna say it drives me crazy, but it doesn't really drive me crazy because I don't care that much about it. But what does bother me, I guess, the most about it is the fact that we see 27 other championships on this show, but the guy does not show us the title, and it's just like whatever. Yeah, the chair facing the bed. That and I love deadpan humor like that, and just like just that got me. So props to him for that, and a good call out there. Oh, Mater, what's up? What's up? You say the Mania stage. It's a big one. Seen a photo earlier, man. Mater. Oh yeah, from Cars. I get it. Um, I don't know, man. I'm kind of one of those people. I remember like back in the day watching Sunday Night Heat and just of course we didn't have social media back then, right? But just dying and just like trying to get like when you would see like JR and the King standing in like maybe some seats or like kind of like, like just away from the ring and the stage. Like I would be like trying to get glimpses and shit and trying to see like, oh, what is the stage set up for tonight when they actually did themed pay-per-views. Oh, I wish they would bring that shit back. We gotta start a petition or something for that. I wish that would be a question. Someone needs to stop asking all these fucking Waffle House questions and food orders and shit, which it is interesting, but not in a media scrum, bro. Like ask that shit like on the side, like not in the media scrum, but ask about the stage setups. Like ask about themed pay-per-views. Like I always go back to King of the Ring 2001. I fucking loved that big ass chair, man. That shit, I don't know. I just loved it. But yeah, so my point to that was I think I might wait to see. I'm sure I'll probably get spoiled, just scrolling through, but yeah, that is a nice call out. So if you guys want to go check that out, the stage has been released, apparently. So I'm sure it's somewhere on Twitter if you guys want to check that out. Yeah, Sean, that was my. I mean, Maria did mention it. It's a luchador tradition, but and again, like I have never heard that, which I'm not knocking it, but I've never been made aware of that in wrestling, like in like on weekly like American TV. You know what I mean? Not to differentiate, but like in like this culture, it's just never been a thing, and I've never heard that. And again, I'm not gonna sit here and act like the end all be all of wrestling knowledge, because clearly I'm not. Just a little fan like everyone else, but I've never heard of that. So, and I've never seen it done. So they need to really make that known and really make that prominent, because that was my exact thought too, Sean. If the referees restart the match, and fucking a referee who wasn't even the actual official of the match, it was referee Aubrey. She came out and was listening to his family, which is okay, fine, but like who are you to tell Bryce to restart the match? Like, I don't know, but I will say too, when Jericho was putting the bat like neatly behind the stairs, I was like, that's so weird. Like, since when do they like go back and hide it specifically? They just throw that shit out of the ring. So I remember seeing that. I was like, oh, like, and he was like making a point to like jam it in there. I'm like, okay, like that's just odd. Then it ended up making sense. Well, not making sense, but yeah, we saw why. Okay, Fernando, you said what I was trying to say was that I'm very concerned. Okay, that Tony's stubbornness to pivot from this Death Rider story is hurting AEW. I agree with you, bro. 100%. Thank you for that. Thank you for that clarification. I appreciate you, bro. What's up, Fearfully Confident? You said Triple H cares more about his Hall of Fame induction than building WrestleMania. That's funny. At least, especially on the women's side. Jesus Christ. Crazy. Okay. Bebe, thank you, my friend. You said the easiest way to find Dynamite shortly after airing is to go to the sports section on Max, and they will have it as a replay with all of the odd sporting events that they have the live rights to. You're funny. Thank you for that, bro. I will do that. Thank you. Combat Jones It's pretty awesome. Punk is inducting, yes. Bret Hart versus Stone Cold WrestleMania match in Hall of Fame. Yes, bro. Yes. I didn't even realize that until they threw a graphic up for the Hall of Fame, and I saw like Punk's like logo or his picture in the back. I was like, what the fuck? And then I realized at the bottom they had who was inducting who, and I was like, oh shit, that's so fucking cool. And I'm pretty certain they had Diamond Dallas Page listed for Lex Luger, which sucks. You know, I didn't expect Sting to be there, but it just sucks, man. You know, like I get it because would I expect WWE to play ball with AEW if the roles were reversed? Probably not, you know. So again, I can't even talk shit about Tony Khan or anything like that. And I feel like I know what I would do if I was in that situation, and I'd let Sting do it. What harm is it gonna do? It's fucking Hall of Fame ceremony, you know. Like it's not like Sting is actively on their TV show right now. He's in the middle of his retirement tour. Like it'd be different if this was what last year or even the year before going into Sting's. You want your kind of if they I don't know because to me like it's I don't know, man. To me, either like I was gonna try to make an excuse for it or like play both sides, but like to me, if I'm Tony Khan, I'll think, okay, he's gonna induct Lex Luger. It's great for the industry. I'm a big fan of history. You know, I know their history of all that stuff. You know, if I'm Tony Khan, right? And how long are their induction speeches like the actual inductor? Now, granted, fucking who was that guy who went on for like an hour? Um, but how long would Sting really be on the stage for? Maybe 5 minutes, 10 minutes to give a speech about Luger's career, maybe if that. And then sometimes they have like the inductor standing in yeah, that's the right standing in the background. The hand looked kind of special there, but standing in the background. Or sometimes they just leave the stage depending on the layout. And then once the speech wraps up, they'll maybe come back up, or depending on if the person has family there, whatever. But it's not like Sting was going to be prominently featured, right? And it's not, I don't know. And to me, having Sting be shown on TV, for instance, me, if I don't follow AEW and I'm like, yo, Sting, what the fuck? And I want to look up Sting, it would tie back into his AEW career and be like, yo, what the fuck? He was in AEW? Like, what? What the fuck? And then you would go back and maybe get invested in the product. So I and again, I understand why. I'm not I am not saying like he should have or shouldn't have. I just know what I would have done. I would have probably been very specific and been very mindful of, like a conversation like have directly with a very important person in WWE to make sure no funny business is going to happen, no jabs are going to happen, anything like that. But yeah, man, I think it was a lost opportunity there for sure. Yeah, oh, Fernando, you said FTR is joining MJF again to take on the Hurt Syndicate and will dethrone Bobby and Shawn as tag champs. Yeah, Sean, you're right. They should have messed up the Pinnacle the first time, right? Um, yeah, the whole MJF and the Hurt Syndicate thing, it feels very forced. Feels very forced. I'm gonna let it play out, you know, but I don't know, man. I don't know. But that would make sense because I think the idea is to, or maybe it's not to make FTR the champions, but they obviously want to get to FTR versus Christian and Adam Copeland. So I don't know if that's going to be for the tag titles or what. And Combat Jones, I hope Sting is at least invited. Bro, he ain't gonna be fucking invited. His ass is gonna be at home. I wish, dude. It's fucking trash. Or maybe it could be like a Ricky Saints thing. Like he was backstage at the Rumble, right, for Cody. What was it, last year? Yeah, not obviously this year, but the year prior. Um, so maybe he can be. But God, that'd be if he's at least like if Tony Khan's like, no, you can't do the induction, but you can go as a guest. The fuck? Because like people are still gonna see him there. So if the whole idea was you don't want people to see Sting affiliated with WWE, then why would he be allowed as a guest? And again, I fucking want him to be there, you know? Like I'm advocating for it, but it would just make no sense, dude. If we find out that Sting was able to attend and just not be shown on camera, that's gonna be fucking dumb because you know people are gonna be taking pictures. Sting is gonna be taking pictures with people, so I don't know, bro. But we'll talk a little bit about the build again for WrestleMania. Some stuff on SmackDown. I really quick on Tiffany and Charlotte, the clusterfuck from last week, right? In the 0-3 line, all that shit. I am probably in the minority here. I dug having Charlotte come out this week in street clothes and blindside Tiffany, you know, and it attacked Tiffany. It was very odd the pairing of Tiffany and Roxanne Perez, like match wise. Like, why would you put Roxanne in that spot? And like, whatever happened with the shit between Roxanne and Bailey? Like, I don't. Maybe I feel like a lot of times I'm just missing shit in wrestling now. Because there's just so much going on. Like, God, like it's a blessing and a curse. Blessing and a curse we have here. But I really dug just seeing her in normal clothes, dude. Like, it really gave the vibe where she wasn't planning on being there. She wasn't. I mean, she was planning on being there, but since she attacked her, because there was a clip that she had attacked her when in the parking lot, like right before the show when they were arriving. So she, you know, was probably banned from the arena, and then she snuck back in or whatever, and tried to get the upper hand on Tiffany. I dug that she was in regular clothes, dude. It just uh something about like this the crop tee and the jeans. I was like, yo, like you're a regular person, you know, like you don't always have to be so dolled up. Like you can be human, you know, like you don't have to be like the robotic like 14 time like goddess champion, you know, like you can just be a real human. And I think there's we could do a whole show on Charlotte. But again, I have been in the minority for the longest time. I don't have hate for Charlotte. I She's not as cringe to me as she is to some people. I do think she does not do herself any favors, right? She has been the common denominator in a lot of different situations. Same thing could be said for Punk. You know, when you look back at AEW, he was the common denominator in a lot of shit too. That's again completely different in some ways, but at least the common denominator comparison. But the fact that everything seems to get like resolved, at least backstage or whatever. But it is interesting too that you don't see these people work together again, right? Like you haven't seen her interact with Becky. I don't think she's interact. Maybe she has had a couple matches with Nia Jax since. So that has to be brought up, right? But man, like I think for some reason I have like a soft spot for her because I do follow her on Twitter, and I don't know if I follow her on Instagram. I'll have to check, but I don't be popping on the gram that much, but she's so uplifting on Twitter. I mean, like a couple tweets she sent out was like in character, right? Like piggybacking off of last week's show. But she's like she'll comment on people like on like random people's like random fans. So like tag her and stuff and just be like, "Oh, thank you so much, beautiful. Like I hope you had a good time," and just like be really uplifting. So the I think her name is Ashley. um the actual human, right? Then not the character. I think has such a good heart, and I think honestly too, she was kind of dealt a blessing and a curse as well. She had the upper hand in a lot of ways of having that Flair name, right? But it's also having the curse of the Flair name and feeling the pressure of living up to such high standards. Again, wrestling wise, nothing outside of the ring, but wrestling wise. Um, And the fact too, she has been very open about her brother when her brother Reed passed, how she is living out his dream by doing this. You know, this was what he wanted to do, and she felt almost like a duty. I don't want to speak for her, but she felt like she needed to see this through, and I'll always respect her for that. And I, you know, like again, like not saying that she's the only one to go through, you know, tough times, hard times, but it's just I wish there was a way to really showcase that on TV. And I think at this point we may be past the point of her being a true like good guy, you know, like I hate saying the word babyface, but like a true good guy. but I think that you really do, and I think they had an opportunity this past time with how long she was out. But the second we started seeing those video packages with her like on the yachts and shit, I'm like, nope, like this is gonna not be great. And you do that, and then you have her return at the Rumble at number 30, and then win the shit. They she I'll say that she has not been dealt the best hand in situations like that. Now, granted, she's fucking 14-time world champion, and like, like she's had it much better than a lot of other people. But in the same token, too, man, like she hasn't been privy to the best placement and the best situations that she's been put in. So I'm not gonna sit here and be an apologist and forgive everything. Her moonsault does suck. She needs to stop that because she just never hits. Going to the outside, just fucking trash. Just stop. Um, the execution itself is beautiful, but it like rarely actually fully makes impact with the person. I don't know if it's the person's fault, but it's like, bro, like damn near everyone doesn't connect unless there's like a multitude of people and like you're just bound to hit someone. But little things like that, but you can't deny she's a good worker, and she, in a lot of ways, it reminds me of the big dog version of Roman Reigns, and just the hate that he was getting and the backlash, and I just don't know what type of drastic turn that she can take, because at least in that situation, Roman was being a good guy and just waiting for him to deviate, whereas Charlotte has been pretty much a heel like this entire time and pretty much a bad guy this entire time. And I think they briefly tried to make her like good, but it wasn't sticking because in my opinion the presentation of it, and they didn't have like a true compass for it and a true substance for what they were going to share. So I don't know. I don't know. I do, Mater. I was actually thinking about that this morning. You said, "Do you think the Priest and McIntyre match deserves a stipulation?" Do you mean like the winner gets like an individual title shot or something like a number one contenders match, or just like the match rules, the match type? Because I think that shit should be a no disqualification, potentially false count anywhere. The only concern with false count anywhere is that shit takes like 20-30 minute match, so maybe not necessarily false count anywhere, but at least a no DQ with what McIntyre did to Priest just last night on SmackDown. So I hope they do add that stipulation to it, if that's what you're referring to. But I don't see them making it like necessarily like a number one contenders match or anything like that, but at least changing the rules and not making it just a standard one-on-one match, because I don't think that it would end in a disqualification, potentially a count out though. So if you want to try to like protect both guys, like they knock each other out, they both go through a table or some shit. Um, I don't know. I don't know, but I almost wish the main event scene wasn't as tied up as it was, because McIntyre would just be fucking a beast champion, dude. So I just love what he's doing. Everyone, I'm sure, loves what he's doing, but that dude is just cooking, man. I wish it was just like a different. I wish, as crazy as it sounds, like I wish, like I said, there wasn't as many top stars that they had, because he just seems to be. They know what they have, and they need him on TV, and they need him to keep going. But it's like placement wise, it's just kind of shitty. Not shitty, because I think Priest has really stepped up as one. I've talked about my love for Priest, um, but not no disrespect, but if Priest isn't like a CM Punk or a Gunther or a championship match or anything like that, So some people are saying it's a step down for McIntyre. I don't know if I necessarily view it as a step down. It's just not exactly what we wanted from McIntyre this year. So yeah, is it a street fight? Sean, did they declare it as a street fight? I did pull up the Mania card, so we'll go through that briefly here, and then we'll sign off here soon. I do, and they just had a flash of Randy Orton. I do wish that they would just declare or make it official, Aldis versus Randy Orton. So I don't know what we're doing in that regard, but I just think that should be a given. That should be a given. Yo, these ads are fucking wild. One second. Alright, so we do have the official card for both nights. WrestleMania 1 and 2. Night 1 and Night 2. Not taking it back to WrestleMania 1 and 2. So, for Night 1, and I believe it's 7 and 6 right now. 7 matches on 1 and 6 on 2, which is pending the Randy Orton inclusion. I wish they would just pull the trigger on all this though. Sean, you said too short of a build, and I'm assuming it's solo now. I was thinking that too, man. I was thinking that too, coming out of last night. So I'm not happy about either. McKinsey said Karrion Kross versus Randy Orton would be a very intriguing storyline program. If they do it right, it definitely has potential with this new character Kross has been presenting, and the voices Randy hears. I think they could definitely do something there. But with Night 1 on Saturday, of course, we have Rey Mysterio facing off against El Grande Americano. Sounds like a Starbucks drink, which I will be going to get momentarily. Jade Cargill versus Naomi. LA Knight versus Jacob Fatu for the U.S. Championship. War Raiders, Eric and Ivar versus New Day. Kofi Kingston and Eric. What the fuck? Eric. Oh, well, I guess Eric from Eric and Ivar, but Xavier Woods, not Eric Woods, for the World Tag Titles. And real quick with the tag titles, I think it's a travesty that the Street Profits and Motor City Machine Guns match is not happening on a WrestleMania. You have 2 fucking nights and you can't include both tag team titles, which again makes it a point why you should have 2 separate tag team titles. I think, which we're not going to get into. I think you should have one set of champions that flip between each show because your division is not that stacked right now. But it's just, I was so looking forward to seeing Motor City Machine Guns finally get their first WrestleMania match, and it was just gonna be cool. I know it's, I don't know, not I guess that big of a deal, but and they're having that on SmackDown, but such a shame, bro. Such a shame. You have 2 fucking nights of WrestleMania, and you can't find the spot for them on the card. But then you have Tiffany Stratton, your WWE Women's Champion, facing off against Charlotte Flair. Gunther versus Jey Uso for the World Heavyweight Championship. And the main event for Night 1, Roman Reigns versus CM Punk with Paul Heyman versus Seth Rollins in a triple threat match. We'll not be going through the predictions right now. We'll save that for next week. But that is the card for WrestleMania Night 1, which is, of course, April 19th. And then on good old 420, we have WrestleMania Night 2. AJ Styles facing off against Logan Paul, which I think is going to be a very good match. A sleeper match. Drew McIntyre versus Damian Priest. And okay, thank you, Sean. In a Sin City street fight match. So that answers that. Appreciate you there, man. Of course it's a Sin City street fight. Of course. Braun Breaker versus Penta versus Dominic Mysterio versus Finn Balor in a 4-way for the Intercontinental title. I know a lot of people have said, especially with all the multi-person matches that we have on the card, this one I'm not even mad about. I actually expected we were going to get a ladder match and have potentially 6 participants in the match. But I like having a 4-way here, and it makes sense. The story they've been building makes sense. Penta and Breaker have been going back and forth. They've been teaming. They have there's a story there. Obviously, we know the story with Dominic and Finn. And then we also have seen Dominic trying to get, recruit members for the Judgment Day. He's reached out to Penta. The whole story with Finn is Finn wants to win the IC title, but as Liv said, as long as one of them, Dominic or Finn, brings back the IC title to Judgment Day, that's all that matters. So there's a lot of story going on in that Fatal 4-Way. So I had the Fatal for old time's sakes. So I'm looking forward to it, and I'm really interested to see what Dominic does in this match. I wish for a while there, he was wrestling a lot, and he's kind of, backed off in ring wise, and I was really enjoying watching him in the ring, so I hope we get more of that, as wild as that sounds. Liv Morgan in the next match, speaking of Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez facing off against Lyra Valkyria and Bayley as determined last night for the WWE Women's Tag Team titles. The fact that our our women's intercontinental champion is in a tag team match for the women's tag team titles. I think explains everything that is going wrong with the women's division and the tag team division as a whole. Not just men, or not just the women, men and women for the tag side. So, Io Sky versus Bianca Belair versus Rhea Ripley in a triple threat for the WWE Women's World Championship. We we all know the cluster that story has been. And they just made it so much more complicated than it needed to. It was just frustrating. And then the main event for WrestleMania weekend, Cody Rhodes, our WWE champion, facing off against the bad guy John Cena for said title for the 17th reign for Mr. Cena. Again, this isn't a prediction show, just going down the card. We'll have a lot of comments for that. But one last thing before we sign off. I mentioned earlier one story I was not happy with, and that is this story. John Cena and Cody Rhodes. Cody is doing everything he can. I liked the segment that he did last night showing all the different titles. I am going through the history. That was a really cool visual. I think just a really cool idea. I am very underwhelmed with Cena's heel turn. I think it started off hot. We have not seen The Rock. We've got, one mention of The Rock from Cody, was it last week? I have a bad feeling, guys. I have a bad feeling we're going to come out of WrestleMania with Cena shaking Cody's hand and just kind of I don't know, just kind of whether I don't know. I just have that visual for some reason, and I just don't want this heel turn to end at WrestleMania. Whether he wins or not, Cena wins or not. I just think that, and you can make a case for both scenarios, whether he wins, what you can do, or if he loses, what you can do. And I just think that it has been a little underwhelming right now. The first week was hot. When he came out and did the first promo, that shit was fire. Second week was okay. It's just, I don't know, man. It just feels like the stuff that he was saying, okay, we broke up with the fans, okay. But it just feels like it was like a promo that he wrote 10 years ago and was prepared for, and I don't know. Something's not hitting right. Something's just, and I'm gonna obviously wait and see what happens at Mania, but I just feel like we could have got a little bit more in the build for this. So, with that being said, guys, we will be wrapping it up here. I appreciate you guys for finding me over here and switching over here instead of One True Sport. Again, we should be hopefully good to go next week. If not, I'll pop in over here again Saturday morning. But until next time, my friends, I appreciate you all for joining, whether you watch now, all you guys in the chat, I appreciate it. And then if you're watching a replay, I appreciate that as well. Let me know, drop a comment with your thoughts on anything that we discussed. It's going to be a busy week. But I'm going to try to do a stream. I know I'll be doing a stream because we'll be doing a prediction stream. Possibly on Thursday. Just got to get the logistics figured out. So, until next time, guys. Oh, Fernando, you said it's not cool that the women's US or IC championship is not going to be at Mania. Exactly, dude. Exactly. And that's what I was saying with Lyra being in the tag team title match. And Chelsea Green not even being, I don't know, man. They gotta do better. They should have done better going into this Mania, but coming out of Mania, they need to take a look in the mirror in that regard. And it's not we don't know if Triple H can do it because we saw him doing it in NXT. So praise where praise is due, but critique where critique is due, just like with everything. So with all that being said, guys, thank you so much. I truly appreciate you all for popping in with me this morning. Until next time, my friends, stay safe out there and enjoy some wrestling. Have a good weekend.